We've been learning more about the scope of the Trump administration's spending on cushy travel and amenities for its own officials. According to NBC News, Immigration and Customs Enforcement is seeking approval from the Office of Management and Budget to purchase a luxury jet for $70 million, telling the OMB that it would be used for deportations and travel for cabinet officials. The Wall Street Journal reports that DHS is, in fact, already leasing the plane, and we got to take a look inside it this week. Welcome aboard the jet officials like Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem can use to traverse the country, featuring gleaming stainless steel kitchen appliances, four flat screen TVs, a bedroom with a queen bed, and even a bar. We're also seeing Florida's emergency agency run up its own tab, shelling out $405 million in taxpayer money in 6 months to fight immigration. But beyond the normal expenses of law enforcement, it covers private jet flights, restaurant meals, and badges. That's all according to the Florida Phoenix. In fact, the priciest contract there belongs to none other than a porta-potty company called, just wait for it, Duty Calls. The Florida agency paid that company more than $92 million. And joining me now to discuss all of that classy information is Democratic Congresswoman Delia Ramirez of Illinois.
Sorry, Congresswoman.
She sits on the Homeland Security Committee. All right, Congresswoman, I'm just going to let you react to that, to Duty Calls.
Look, I'm trying to laugh so I don't cry because... whether it's the stupid names of duty calls or the reality that they're using emergency funding to be able to get these luxurious porta potties or spending taxpayer money on these private jet flights so Kristi Noem and cabinet members can have all these flat screen TVs while people, my constituents on my same block, can barely pay their rent or their mortgage or go to the doctor is despicable. Just think about how despicable this is. So as I look at these ridiculous names, I want to laugh so I don't cry, but it's the reality. They're spending taxpayer money, emergency funding for all this crap. Literally.
So I take it that you don't agree that all these purchases are being done above board, because that's what the Florida Division of Emergency Management is saying, that there's nothing to see here. You're not buying it.
What do you mean there's nothing to see here? And in the name of protecting the homeland, in the name of doing their job to be able to run this agency, they're spending millions of dollars. You're talking about $92 million on these porta potties, on flat screen TVs. I mean, and that's not even getting into the reality that you have Tricia McCollum, who's finally stepping down because her husband got $200 million from Kristi Noem in contracts. She's stepping down after they became even richer. I mean, it is disgusting to see how they're using everyday people's money to spend it on the most ridiculous things while the American people can't even buy groceries.
Congresswoman, I'm also wondering what role there might be for lawmakers to look at who is getting rich off of all of this. It's not just that people like the DHS secretary are sort of cosseting themselves in luxury. This money is going into someone's pockets, whether it's the porta potty company, which I don't know how you spend $92 million on porta potties, but I guess I haven't looked deeply.
They better be really nice.
They're very, very nice porta potties. But, presumably. Yeah, exactly. But presumably this money is coming out of taxpayer coffers and into somebody else's pockets. And so it seems like there should be some role here for looking at who is profiting off of this immigration industrial complex, no?
Of course, absolutely. It's Congress. We control the purse. And then we also, in the appropriation process, designate how the money is to be spent and how it's not to be spent. The idea that they think that they could go ahead in the name of ensuring that Kristi Noem can have more luxury, give whatever the hell they want, is absolutely unlawful. And it is the responsibility of Congress to stop it. So look, it's our appropriation process. So it's the Appropriations Committee, but it's also the Committee on Homeland. But not one Republican dared to ask those questions when we had DHS officials there just 2 weeks ago. So I think as we're having these conversations of whether DHS should have more money for porta potties or not, because at this point, they obviously have way too much money. They don't know what to do with it. But as we're having this conversation of the money they want now, We should be looking at every single dollar that has been spent, and we should be clawing it back, to be frank with you, because there's a lot of people who are becoming millionaires as a result of the terror that you are seeing in the community every single day, while people can't pay for their rent, they can't go to the doctor, and they're barely buying groceries.
Congresswoman, you are not attending the State of the Union on Tuesday. Why are you choosing not to attend?
Look, I thought about it for a moment, and let me be frank with you. Donald Trump is going to use the State of the Union address as a platform to gaslight the American people and to try to justify in that room the terror, the abuse, the violation of rights that you are seeing around the country, and I refuse to legitimize it. To me, as I think about the State of the Union, it's not in that house, not under this president. It's actually the people that are in the street fighting fascism, authoritarianism, protecting neighbors, and mourning the plural lives of the people that have died under this administration. So for me, being there, at least for me, it feels like legitimizing or giving him more of a platform and more of a crowd to continue to gaslight and harm the American people.
Congresswoman, I just wanted to ask you, about a minute left, we learned about a private jet that is owned by a Trump associate named Gil Dezer, a longtime business partner of Trump. It has been used twice by ICE to deport Palestinians to the West Bank. I want to get your thoughts on that and whether or not there is any attempt in Congress to find out why a private jet is being used by the government in deportation enforcement operations, and how alarmed we should be about stuff like this.
I think we should be deeply alarmed. Just think about it. Private jets and private detention. And who is getting these contracts without procurement? Trump's campaign donors. This is the bold, in-your-face corruption as corruption can get. There are people becoming filthy rich, no procurement, and all they have to do is write a couple of checks to Donald Trump, help a couple of other people, and somehow Speaker Johnson wants to just put it under the rug as if nothing's happening. It should alarm every one of us, because what they're doing behind the scenes is trying to get away with violating, yes, people's rights, but doing it with taxpayer dollars while the corrupt become richer and people die in detention or die on their way wherever they're sending them.
All right, Congresswoman Delia Ramirez, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.